Only the Nile River in Egypt, some say, is older than the New River in northwestern North Carolina. Yet is it really the second oldest river in the world, or the 22nd, or the 102nd? The geologist jury is still out. This we do know. The New River in our state is a remnant of the prehistoric Taze River, which drained much of eastern and north central America before the most recent ice age, and which prefigured the Ohio River system. Just west of the Blue Ridge, the two forks of the New River drain Watauga, Ashe, and Allegheny counties. From right here, where the North and South Forks join, the river flows on off into Virginia, returns to North Carolina 3 times, then heads on into Virginia and West Virginia for good. The only thing new about this river was that it was a surprise to its colonial discoverer, Colonel Abraham Wood of Virginia in 1654. Echoing Wood's surprise years later, Governor Gabriel Johnston of North Carolina said of the New River, no one had ever dreamt of it. Native Americans, though, particularly the Cherokee, had been hunting, fishing, and traversing our country's only major northward flowing river for 10,000 years. Not until after the French and Indian War ended in 1763 did settlement by extended families and groups of families really begin to occur here. The great wilderness explorer Daniel Boone hunted the New River headwaters in the 1760s and led parties to the west through this part of the world in the fall of 1767 and the spring of 1769. He left his name behind on the Watauga County seat of Boone. North of Boone, the two forks sit like a wishbone around several great peaks, rich with the mineral hornblende. Among them are Phoenix and Little Phoenix Mountains, Mount Jefferson, Hattie Mountain, Three Top Mountain, and one of North America's treasures of botanical diversity, spectacular Bluff Mountain. Over 400 species of plants are found on Bluff, prized as the single most diverse spot for flora in the entire southern Appalachians. Preserving it by purchasing 701 acres from Ashe County's Edwards family was the successful goal of the then fledgling North Carolina Nature Conservancy in the late 1970s. The Conservancy has added to the preserve since then, and it has grown to about 2,000 acres. Near Bluff Mountain's looking-off place is a community of Carolina hemlocks, aged trees, yet not very tall. These amazing trees have grown in the face of strong, bitter winds and in almost no soil at all. Their roots go way down into crevices for what little water and nutrients there are. Near the hemlocks, another dwarf forest, a woods of red oaks and white oaks, demonstrates hardiness under harsh conditions. These gnarly trees are a portrait in survival. One of the last things you'd expect to find atop a mountain is this rare 3-acre creation, the only upland fen in all the great hills of the southern Appalachians. The fen's stony soil is only 9 inches deep on average, and it's almost always saturated, fed by groundwater percolating down from higher slopes. It can be extremely windy and cold up here. Every month of the year may see freezing temperatures, and the shallow soil of the fen freezes to the bedrock in wintertime. Yet over 140 species of plants and mosses have been found in this fen, 1 in every 10 of them rare, if not endangered, in North Carolina. An intriguing tale about Bluff Mountain comes to us from back about 1830 concerning a stockman named Perkins who was caught up here in a storm. He took shelter beneath this ledge. Before long, something so terrified him that he ran and leapt down the mountain to his home and collapsed. Perkins told his family and his friends that he would reveal just what had happened up here on the 9th day afterwards. But on the 8th day, he died, and no one ever knew for sure just what it was that had driven him down the mountainside in such terror. This ledge where he hid has ever since then been called Perkins Rock. Bluff Mountain rises hundreds of feet above the fields and forests of the North and South Fork New River valleys below. Just imagine eons past when mountains possibly taller than the Rockies stood here. And Bluff Mountain, this rare wonder, was their valley floor. Here at the Carolina headwaters, the New and its countryside are still so remarkably pristine that a power company's plan to dam it up 40 years ago was eventually beaten back by a broad coalition, the National Committee for the New River. Our state declared it a state scenic river, Congress made it a national scenic river, and then our state created the New River State Park on the South Fork, a park that today comprises 2,300 acres. The National Committee for the New River was so successful at building support that just before Congress voted on its inclusion in the wild and scenic river system, 231 newspapers across the country ran editorials in favor of it. And the NCNR, having protected thousands of acres and scores of miles along the New, is still active today, over 30 years later, as one of the river's best friends. Some miles downstream of here, along about 1910, my grandfather once had to ford the New River by night. He was returning to North Carolina from West Virginia, where he'd been fireproofing a courthouse. When he got to Independence, Virginia, he rented a horse and buggy and lit out on his own down the mountain toward the New River and Sparta, North Carolina beyond. When they reached the shallow river, the night being pitch black, he could scarcely make out the wall of forest on the other side. He said, "Horse, you've got to find the road on the far side of this ford, because I don't know where it is, and I sure can't see it." After a few tense minutes of slowly clattering over the river, the horse went right to the road, and my grandfather was able to reach my grandmother, who awaited him at the hotel in Sparta. To the horse that forded the New River that night, my grandparents' descendants have always been grateful. We bid you adieu from the old New and hope to see you again before long on some of the other beautiful waters of our state.